Hey guys, what's going on? I'm doing a review today of a new subscription I just purchased recently, and I'm going through it, and I thought I'd do a sort of overview, plus look at the track record. It's a service called Monthly Money Flows, but it's also called, and I did a review on it here, Jeff Zananiri's Calendar Stocks. So it's really called Calendar Stocks, but it's like subscript is Monthly Money Flows. So this guy, Jeff Zananiri, is somebody who you guys may or may not have heard of. I did a little bit of a biography and researched his background a little bit. He's pretty extraordinary in the fact that he's actually worked on Wall Street for a long time, and he is basically known for taking a $5 million round of funding basically and trading it into 700 million, which is just insane. It's like 13,000% return on that capital. So I bet his investors were really happy about that, because that's just absolutely ridiculous. And so what I thought I'd do is I'd do a video, and I've already written up quite a bit of this review. I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to go and check it out. So definitely go and have a look here. And one of the things that I first noticed is the performance for this monthly flow service is basically much higher than the S&P 500 since the inception of the service. So 236.3% return versus just 32% on the S&P 500 since this monthly flow performance began. So good start, right? You always want to see it beating the S&P 500. And so, like I said, he's a former Wall Street veteran. And the cool thing is, this trading schedule is really interesting. So, if you like swing trades where you're basically buying within the first couple of days of the month, so it's usually day 2 or 3, I think he buys on, and holding just for that month, and then taking your profits or cutting your losses. There are some losses, they're pretty low, but there's definitely some losses. And basically, Jeff has come up with this strategy which he used for that 5 million to 700 million, where he's basically looking at how the big institutional investors are starting off the month. So these hedge funds and institutional investors basically have to buy at the start of the month for these 401ks and all this other stuff. And so because he was part of that click really, he really started to figure out how he could benefit from this, basically knowing fine well what they were going to do. It's not as easy as it sounds, and he has a course and things that he talks about how exactly he does it inside the dashboard, which we'll go through as well. So like I said, it's called Jeff Zananiri's Monthly Money Flow. You can click on any of the links in here. It'll take you to a video of him being interviewed by none other than Ben Sturgill from the Raging Bull fame. So this is Ben on the left here. There's Jeff on the right. So basically, these guys get an introduction.
Learn from the man you're about to meet.
From
These
Ben.
ordinary stocks are about to radically change how you think about investing, because embedded deep within each of these stocks is a silent countdown, ticking down day by day, revealing the exact moment to get in, when to cash out, and presenting savvy traders with a shot at targeting market-crushing gains like 85%, 210%, and even
423%. So the idea is that you're basically getting in at the start of the month and you're getting out near the end of the month. And the cool thing is this can be done with stocks or options, and they give their track record and the trade alerts, whether you want to play the stock or the option. And I'll go into all of that later on in this review. I just wanted to show you the start of that video. And so if you go to that page, again, there'll be a link in the description below where you can go and you can actually just scroll down and buy this thing, and you can read all the bonuses you get and stuff. And I'll go through those as well. It's only $49 for a whole year. So you're getting a swing trade every 2 or 3 weeks. And basically, it's like this fantastic new service. So I'm really excited about it. And so basically, that's the bare bones of it all. So Jeff Zananiri, like I said, he was basically starting off his journey in trading, banking under the mentorship of Bear Stearns, Alan Ace Greenberg. If you don't know about him, Google him. He's an absolute legend. So, like it says here, Greenberg was a pioneering figure who transformed the ethos of Wall Street from one of privilege to that of pure Pure meritocracy, basically. So he saw potential in Jeff, labeling him as PSDs, which is poor, smart, and desirous of wealth. So I don't quite know what that's all about, but that's what I was able to find out about what he thought of Jeff. And so this is really somebody who came from humble beginnings and really wanted to try and get that wealth. So basically, Jeff started off his career in the really fast paced world of finance and Wall Street. And this is, like I said, again, his main claim to fame is he was able to transform using the singular trade concept, which is very similar to the basically his service now, to transform his 5.1 million investments into a staggering 700 million live trading. So it's pretty cool. Here's a little summary of Jeff right here. He called his company Joy of the Trade. I don't know if it's still called that. It's not what my receipt says or anything. But basically, he really enjoys trading. So he wanted to make sure that this is not really just about him making money. It's about him having a lot of fun as well. His other claim to fame is he's only had one losing quarter in 10 years. And that is pretty cool. So all this is to be taken on face value, of course. There's no real proof that we can see apart from data that he presents in the webinar, which again you can check out in any of the links in here, or I'll show you inside the dashboard in a few minutes as well. So unlike some of the other services that I've talked about that have this kind of like fixed date when you get into something, basically Jeff has taken trades starting on about the 3rd of the month. It doesn't matter if there's earning seasons or FDA announcements or any sort of IPO buzz, any of that stuff. He takes a trade every single month, and that's pretty much it for when he gets in. He doesn't look for any sort of catalysts. The only thing he looks for is things like institutional volume, much higher than the previous month, and different sectors. His process is quite involved, but it's also quite simple at the same time. So I think it's a pretty cool service so far. So here are some of the results. So there's results presented in the webinar, but there's also results presented inside the dashboard, which I'll show you. Some of them are screenshotted here, and some I'll show you in the actual dashboard. So, like I said before, his program basically has made 236.3% return on capital versus the 32% if you've just been in the S&P 500. That is a huge metric. This was shown in the webinar at the start. Typically, trades will go up 50 to 100% if you're doing the options. So here's one at 400%. I don't know if you can see that well. So they give their examples, and this is all well and good, but in order to see the full track record, you need to buy the thing, which I think is a bit silly. They should show the full track record, although it's probably because it's proprietary stuff and they don't want people reverse engineering what they're doing and things. So they show the full track record, and I'll show you in a few minutes as well. So here's an example, August 8th entry. So you have to wait a few days, but you don't go straight in at the very start of the month because you need to analyze the volume and the institutional buying and things before you enter, and then you exit before the end of the month. And this one was an example of a 71% gain on, I'm guessing, the options, but sometimes it could be the stocks because this is a snapshot from inside the dashboard, and I'll show you the whole thing in a minute. But this one, I just want to keep it kind of simple. So if we look here, you can see that we have, like here, let's just check really quick that I did stop this presentation. Yeah. So this is a snapshot from inside the dashboard for this money flow service. And I wanted to point out a few things. First of all, we go here. This is lines for each different trade that he's taken every month. And so these are ones that are closed. I'm not showing you the open ones. Don't want to give away some of his open trades. And so this one was on Amazon, so we're not trading like penny stocks here. And you can see the top line here says long stock, so this is the long stock, and this is the entry date right here, so the 5th of February. And basically the trade was closed on the 15th of March, so it was a little bit longer than a month. Sometimes they run a little bit. If the trade's doing well, or maybe there's not any real reason to exit, they could last a little bit longer than the just by the month end. And so this is the start price when he entered, was $169 on Amazon, and he exited at 175, which is $6 per share, or 4% gain. So the cool thing is he also puts the options that they showed, and I'll show you an actual alert in a little bit. They actually put the options, which was the 315 expiration calls for 175, same entry date obviously, and then so this did actually decrease in value, and that's primarily due to the fact that there was time decay as well. And so we didn't quite get to the 175 mark in time, and we ended up with a minus 56% gain on the option. So in this case, you'd be better off trading the stock. But in a lot of cases, he points out that you get 13 times higher on average gain. So this was an anomaly, and I just wanted to show you this because it's kind of interesting that the options decayed so fast that in this case you would have been better trading the stock. But if you look at every other example, FANG, NCLH, Para, AMD, DVN, you can see that the stock went up 12% in this case, and the corresponding options went up 10 or 11 times. Same here, 14% on the stock, 138% on the options, 7% on the stock, 44% on the options, 18% on the stock, 121% on the options. This one, nasty loser, minus 8% on the stock, minus 100% on the options. And so it goes. And so I just wanted to point out that for this one, for example, on Coin, the long stock was entered. This one actually did open in July last year, closed at the end of July. The stock went from 76 to 97, which is a whopping 27% gain on the stock. So some of these stocks do move quite a bit, but the option went up 151%. So this is what I really like about the service, is the transparency. He shows us all inside the dashboard. So we'll go inside the dashboard in a minute, and I'll show you some of the other cool stuff. But I wanted to kind of show you the transparency of the results, which is really cool. So if you do the math throughout his whole track record, and this is where you have to be careful, is you're getting these 100% winners, but of course then there's 50% losers, 20% losers, 100% winners, 40% winners. When you mash that all together, and this is not a way I like to look at it, but when you mash this all together, where you include the winners and the losers, every 26 days you're getting 14.8% return on your position. So it's kind of a weird way of doing it. People seem to be doing it more and more. I think it's okay. It's like an average of everything. So it's an interesting way to do it. But it is a positive profit factor on the service, which is really cool. Like I said, this is just $49. So if you go to the link in the description below, you can get this for a year for $49, which is absolutely nothing. Normal price is $299, which is still a very fair price in my opinion. There's a bunch of bonuses and things. I really like this service. I am excited to take trade from it, but let's go to the dashboard and go through a few things here. So this is the dashboard that you can get. You can get SMS alerts if you want to. I don't think that's necessary. You get emailed the particular alerts, and you know when they're coming out roughly the very start of the month. So here's the dashboard. There's even a thing about bonuses on your taxes. One thing that I really did enjoy, and I'll show you that before we do anything else, was this crash course. So whenever you have a guru like telling you to take particular trades, it's always helpful to be like, okay, is he actually, like, what's he doing? And he goes through these simple short videos. You can see they're only 4 minutes, so they're really simple. He doesn't go into absolute every detail, but he goes through what his process is to find these and why he does it this way. And that gives you a lot of reassurance that he's actually doing something that's interesting and fairly novel and actually works pretty well. So I found some of this very helpful.
So guys, I want to talk to you today about performance. I want to talk to you about money flow performance. Our top trades and performance versus the market. Check this out. Program overview. We outperformed the S&P 500, 236% return versus 32% of the S&P since program inception. I'm very proud of that. Anytime I can beat the stock market, it's all I really want to do. So I'm averaging 124% return on winners with a 26-day average hold.
So winners are usually 124% profits in that position on average.
That's awesome. That's under a month. Look at this graphic. Our recent trade wins. Check this out. Look at these graphics. Unbelievable. So when we're outperforming the market like that on a monthly basis over the course of a year, it just adds up. It snowballs. It cascades. and we're always in touch with what's going on in the market in that month. We're not like falling in love with the wrong sector or the wrong stocks and sitting them month after month, 6 months, 7 months in the year, evaporate, and we miss the whole plot. We're always in touch with what's trending and what's happening in the market, which is the most important thing in trading, and which is really the fuel of why money flows has outperformed the S&P. Listen, I just love trading. It's in my blood.
Yeah, so that's a basic overview for some of the data. If we go back up here, I can play a little bit of his first kind of video if it works here. Sometimes they take a while to load. Let's see if this one...
Today, guys, I want to talk to you about why I love trading money flows. You see, the market is like this big ocean with all different currents going on. But one of the strongest currents is the money that flows into the market on a monthly basis. Just think about it. Every time people get a paycheck, which happens once, perhaps twice a month, there's a deduction from their paycheck that goes into a 401k or an IRA or some other retirement fund. And when that happens, funds go buy stocks with that money. So the way fund managers work and the way money flows work is that these guys are not the most creative cats in the world. They're all trying to get into the same stocks that are in the S&P 500 or in the NASDAQ or in the Russell 2000. And they just have to match the market. They have to match the index, but they want to beat them by just a little bit. They want to beat the market by just a few percentage points. So they all cluster into the best performing stocks. And so that's why I love this strategy, because I'm gaming the system that I know already exists because of these major, massive, passive flows of ETF cash, mutual fund cash, all the retirement system cash that's constantly flowing into the stock market. So a little bit about myself. I started out in Wall Street in the late 90s and now over 20 years. And I was in an investment bank in New York, Bear Stearns. I was on the institutional side, so I got to learn how the sausage was made from an institutional standpoint. And then I switched over to the buy side. I traded at some of the largest proprietary trading firms in the world, like Schoenfeld Securities, First New York Securities. And I was at a hedge fund called Bain Capital for over 10 years, one of the best arbitrage hedge funds in the world. So I learned how to trade international flows that way. But I found this commonality where everybody would piggyback and cluster into the same stocks that were trending from the beginning of a period of time in exactly 1 month through the end of the month. And it would just snowball over that period of time as they chased the same few stocks.
This is how he knows how to do it, is he was part of the people that were doing it. So that's what I find pretty interesting about this guy's background.
So I developed a system where I would spot accumulation in stocks early on in the month with the anticipation of watching it ride out and participating on the upside for the rest of the month. So my system has a couple of different ways where we identify accumulation happening early on in the first 2 trading days of the month in the top stocks in the biggest indexes in the United States. And then we just ride that wave until the last trading day of the month. So
I don't really want to show you much more because he starts to go into how he does it, and probably isn't very fair to give a lot of this stuff away. It's probably kind of proprietary. So I thought I'd show you some more of the results, some of the, let's see where we're at, some of the, like what to expect when you purchase this particular service. So let's have a look. So this is the monthly money flow options course. So that's a course if you're fairly new to options. Remember, this is a stock and options service. So you get basically one of each. So they suggest the stock and the entry, and then also a particular options contract. So let's go and have a look at some of the particular trades at the moment. So let's go down to like one of these ones. Let's just pick January trade FANG. Let's try that one. So let's go in here. So this is what you get from the alert point of view. So hopefully you can see this clearly enough. So basically the commentary is here. Diamondback Energy is the top 5 of all NASDAQ names to start January 24. FANG is showing massive relative strength compared to the market, which has started the new year in a tailspin. And they were down 1.3% S&P. A recent break above the 50-day moving average. Could it see at least the 175 area, although I anticipate bigger gains in store. And so you look down here, and this is how simple it is. Here's the ticker that you buy, and you buy it along with the stock price at 165 or lower with a target of 180. The only thing missing here is a stop loss, so that's something that you'd want to probably come up with yourself with your particular risk reward tolerance, along with position sizing. Of course, we're all responsible for our position sizes as well, so those 2 things are kind of missing. Not the end of the world though, because really you shouldn't be relying on these people to define your own risk reward, right? They can find the correct stocks for you, hopefully, and give you that advantage and take away the work that's required to do that. But they shouldn't really be giving you your full trading plan in terms of like, because everybody's different, right? Like maybe I have a 20% stop, but people prefer like a 10% because they have a smaller account or whatnot, or they can't average in or that kind of thing. And then you get an options play on the same stock. So these are the option contracts as well. So that was January trade this year. Let's go back to right here. So that was the January trade. If we go up, we can see how FANG performed. So you get some commentary as time goes on. So you decided to hold FANG because oil stocks are lagging behind even though oil is breaking out. So you get some commentary as it goes on. So this one lasted a little bit longer than he expected. It went all the way into February, so an extra couple of weeks. So these swing trades can be, they're normally only 2 or 3 weeks, but they can be 4 or 5 or 6 weeks. So let's look at the exit alert. So trade out all of FANG at this time. We had a home run holding FANG into the expiration. Today is a big day right before expiration, so let's book the money. So let's go and have a look at FANG stock charts and see how it did during that period of time. So we go here to FANG and look at this huge run it had. So basically he was trading it down here. So zoom in here. So he was in at the start of January, and then in February we had this huge move up, and it's continued up. So some really nice results there. So this does work. The results speak for themselves, and I'm pretty excited to be starting this service, and I'll keep you guys updated on how the different like trades go, but you can see what you can kind of expect from the different things. And I do think this guy has a really solid track record. I believe him. He doesn't seem like a scammer or anything like that. There's a bunch of bonus videos, reports. The crash course is really good, so yeah, go and check it out. Make sure you come and check out my review. I'll make sure to keep updating every trade that comes out, which is not that many, right? Because it's one or two a month sometimes. And I think the price, the guy's credibility, and the type of trading where you're just taking like a set trade, either on a stock or an option, where you get the choice to do whichever one you want to do. I think that's what makes the service quite extraordinary for me. So pretty excited about it. Hope you guys feel the same. Hope you guys go out and buy it. It's only $49 for the year. There's also a 60-day money back satisfaction guarantee. So it's pretty cool. All right, hopefully that's helpful, and I'll talk to you guys soon.